Rod McKenzie, who is from the Road Haulage Association. Rod, good morning to you. What are the chances of shortages, do you think? And if there is a chance of that, how much of an impact are you expecting?
Good morning, Mike. I think there is a distinct chance of shortages. First of all, it needs to be said that we're not going to run out of food, and anyone who says that should be instantly disbelieved. But clearly, as you gave in your introduction, there is a very high proportion of foodstuffs that we import, and if there are delays or tariffs or whatever that create difficulty there, I think what you'll see when you go to your supermarket, for example, is instead of having a range of 5 or 6 different types of fruit on a single shelf, you might have 1 or 2. So I think there will be gaps. How big those gaps will be, how long they'll last, that's anybody's guess.
And ultimately, of course, the other question to put to you is, what could this do to prices?
Well, if there is a no deal, it would probably follow that there would be tariffs imposed, taxes which get passed on to the consumer, as it were. So that's one reason why the cost will go up. But there's another reason as well. All traders are going to have to do a mountain of paperwork, deal or no deal, and most of them are not trained or capable of doing that, so they will contract that work out to customs agents, and they of course charge a fee, and that ends up being passed on to the customer eventually. And the cost of road haulage will increase as a result of these costs and others, and potentially delays, which again cost money. So all of these things are likely to increase prices short or medium term.
We've known Britain would leave the EU for some time now. In fact, the Daily Express is telling us this morning that the actual EU vote was 1,632 days ago. Should more, therefore, have been done to better prepare for this moment, do you think?
Absolutely. We seem to have kicked the can down the road, and by we, I mean the British government. And I'll just give your listeners an opportunity to hear what hasn't been done by the government so that traders and hauliers can't be blamed for not getting ready. Number one, there are a number of IT systems which have been introduced or are being introduced. And do you know what? After 4 years of having to prepare, today they are still not ready for use. And that's a really big worry, and that is simple government incompetence, frankly, that they can't get IT working in that timescale. Secondly, we need about 50,000 customs agents to process all these extra forms. There's going to be about 250 million forms a year that people will have to fill out that they've never had to do before. And those agents are not hired yet. So who is going to do the work, heaven only knows. And thirdly, the border infrastructure. And by that we mean the customs checkpoints, advice points, and the so-called lorry parks, where lorries will be diverted to park up if they haven't got the right paperwork. And none of those are ready either. So those are things that traders and hauliers have no control over. The government has control over, and it's not done. And, we're a few days away now.
Finally, briefly, because we are running out of time, Rod, but, I mean, everything you've said, fair enough, but surely these are just short-term issues which will eventually be resolved and things will move along nicely.
Well, yes, let's hope so. But there's no evidence of that. And the EU and the UK are going to have to work together on this because both sides are affected by, frankly, a deal or no deal. There's very little difference. And there is an awful lot of pain to come unless the two sides can make sure that the borders function properly between the two trading blocs.
Rod McKenzie, thank you. Rod McKenzie is from the Road Haulage Association.